If your mind carries a heavy burden of past, will you experience more of the same? The past perpetuates itself through lack of presence. The quality of your consciousness at this moment is what shapes the future. Eckhart Tolle: the ordinary response to atrocities is to banish them from consciousness. Certain violations of the social compact are too terrible to utter aloud. This is the meaning of the word unspeakable. Atrocities, however, refuse to be buried. Equally as powerful as the desire to deny atrocities is the conviction that denial does not work. Folk wisdom is filled with ghosts who refuse to rest in their graves until their stories are told. Murder will out. Remembering and telling the truth about terrible events are prerequisites both for the restoration of the social order and for the healing of individual victims. The conflict between the will to deny horrible events and the will to proclaim them aloud is the central dialectic of psychological trauma. People who have survived atrocities often tell their stories in a highly emotional, contradictory, and fragmented manner that undermines their credibility and thereby serves the twin imperatives of truth-telling and secrecy. When the truth is finally recognized, survivors can begin their recovery. But far too often secrecy prevails, and the story of the traumatic event surfaces not as a verbal narrative but as a symptom. The psychological distress symptoms of traumatized people simultaneously call attention to the existence of an unspeakable secret and deflect attention from it. This is most apparent in the way traumatized people alternate between feeling numb and reliving the event. The dialectic of trauma gives rise to complicated, sometimes uncanny alterations of consciousness, which George Orwell, one of the committed truth-tellers of our century, called doublethink, and which mental health professionals, searching for calm, precise language, call dissociation. It results in protean, dramatic, and often bizarre symptoms of hysteria which Freud recognized a century ago as disguised communications about sexual abuse in childhood. Judith Lewis Herman: coming forth into the light. I was born the day I thought, what is? What was? And what if? I was transformed the day my ego shattered, and all of the superficial, material things that mattered to me before, suddenly ceased to matter. I really came into being the day I no longer cared about what the world thought of me, only on my thoughts for changing the world. Susie Kassem: I wake to sleep, and take my waking slow. I feel my fate in what I cannot fear. I learn by going where I have to go. We think by feeling. What is there to know? I hear my being dance from ear to ear. I wake to sleep, and take my waking slow. Of those so close beside me, which are you? God bless the ground. I shall walk softly there, and learn by going where I have to go. Light takes the tree, but who can tell us how? The lowly worm climbs up the winding stair. I wake to sleep, and take my waking slow. Great nature has another thing to do to you and me, so take the lively air, and, lovely, learn by going where to go. This shaking keeps me steady. I should know. What falls away is always, and is near. I wake to sleep, and take my waking slow. I learn by going where I have to go. Theodore wrote: the moment you become aware of the ego in you, it is strictly speaking no longer the ego, but just an old, conditioned mind pattern. Ego implies unawareness. Awareness and ego cannot coexist. Eckhart Tolle: people who have a religion should be glad, for not everyone has the gift of believing in heavenly things. You don't necessarily even have to be afraid of punishment after death. Purgatory, hell, and heaven are things that a lot of people can't accept, but still a religion, it doesn't matter which, keeps a person on the right path. It isn't the fear of God but the upholding of one's own honor and conscience. How noble and good everyone could be if, every evening before falling asleep, they were to recall to their minds the events of the wild day and consider exactly what has been good and bad. Then, without realizing it, you try to improve yourself at the start of each new day. Of course, you achieve quite a lot in the course of time. Anyone can do this, it costs nothing and is certainly very helpful. Whoever doesn't know it must learn and find by experience that, a quiet conscience makes one strong. Anne Frank. Ideas are bulletproof. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. Visit www.anonymous.com.pt. Anonymous Portugal International.